Hello, and welcome. In this series, I'll be breaking down the process of creating realistic buildings and landscapes in Minecraft. This first episode is going to be explaining how to set up all the software not included in the base Minecraft download that I'll be using later in this series. But before we get onto that, I want to take a short moment to explain the reason for making these videos to begin with. 3 years ago, I discovered WBC Builds, a YouTuber running a collaborative project including some of the best traditional realism builders around. Since then, I've been on a journey from a survival-only builder to a somewhat experienced realism builder. Now, as a builder on WBC's server and as an active member of their community, I've watched countless others embark on the same journey, with many new builders new to the style, struggling or simply not knowing what questions to ask or what skills to develop. This series will attempt to condense the key techniques and lessons utilized by the most talented builders in the community into a short video series, to help allow anyone to quickly pick up on the style. Of course, Minecraft is a sandbox game, and you can truly build whatever you want, so please don't interpret this series as telling you the right way to build. However, if you like what you see and you want to try out the style yourself, you're in the right place. Every piece of software I mention in this video will be linked, in order, in the video description, and I'll have different sections for each part of the setup. First, let's discuss server-side mods. These mods make the biggest changes to building gameplay. I'll be making use of Fast Asynchronous World Edit, or FAWE, throughout this series. Unfortunately, unlike Basic World Edit, this is a server-only plugin. You can use World Edit in single player instead of FAWE, but you won't have access to absolutely every command I use in this series, including some of the important ones. There are 2 ways to access FAWE if you don't already build on a server that has it. The first is to join a reputable public server that caters to builders, such as Builders Refuge. The alternative is to set up your own locally hosted server. This is actually much simpler than it sounds, and once you set it up, it's not that different from playing a normal single-player experience. First, you'll need to download server software. I recommend Paper. There are plenty of videos and text-based guides on how to do this online, so I won't be going into detail on how to do all that here. Once you have your server set up, though, you'll want to install the FAWE plugin I mentioned earlier, as well as Builder's utilities. We'll be discussing some of the useful features these plugins add in the later episodes of this series. Now that you have a server ready, let's dive into the client-side mods. First, I recommend using a Fabric client, as it offers compatibility with many of the useful mods we'll be using. You'll also want to add the Fabric API, which many mods require to work. For performance, we'll be using Sodium, which will instantly boost your FPS, making the experience much better even on low-end hardware. Next, we'll add Iris, which brings shader support to Sodium. I'm also going to be using a Zoom mod and a Command Macro mod, but those are more for quality of life and are not essential if you don't want to use them. For our resource packs, I'll be using the Terra 1912 pack, which is created by the team I build with. You'll need to join our Discord server for the download. Many people think the pack is not working when they add it, because it only makes minor changes to a few textures. Notable additions, however, are the borders to colored glass, dark iron bars, and smoother textures for diorite and sandstone. The pack balances an almost vanilla look, with a few conveniences for building. I'll also be using Krista's Better Walls, also developed by a builder on our team, which fills in the missing textures of debugged wall blocks. These resource packs aren't strictly required, but are what I will be using for the rest of this series. Feel free to use what you want. Finally, we come to shaders. Shaders allow realistic builders to see your creations in a variety of lighting conditions, and add a whole new dimension of realism to the game. In my opinion, with the right settings, the Chocopic 13 shader looks just as good as a full render of a build. You can find the downloads for the shaders, as well as a blog post containing my shader config file, which has the settings that you've been seeing in this video's background B-roll. Some honorable mentions for shaders are Kappa and Bliss shaders, which both provide excellent atmosphere, as well as BSL, which is a less performance-intensive and slightly stylized alternative. Fortunately, Nothing we've covered so far costs any money, except for the upfront price of Java Edition Minecraft. To keep with this free theme, I'll be using the GIMP image editor a few times in the series, but you can use Photoshop if you already have it, or any other image editing software you might like. With that, you should have everything you need to get started with realistic building. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've found this series helpful or interesting so far, I'd really appreciate you showing your support by liking, subscribing, or sharing with a friend. I hope to catch you in the next installment.